U.S. President Abraham Lincoln once said, "If slavery is not wrong, nothing is wrong." Human trafficking is indeed modern-day slavery. Thank you for joining us on NAPTIP On The Move. My name is Angela Agwegi. Today's episode is on external trafficking. What is external trafficking? In which countries is it most prevalent? Details of these and more if you stay with NAPTIP On The Move.
Trafficking in persons is one of the fastest growing criminal industry in the world. In fact, it has become the second most profitable industry after drug trafficking. Virtually all countries are affected either internally or externally.
External trafficking involves the trafficking that is done across national borders. And so the difference with internal trafficking is that internal trafficking is within, in the context of Nigeria, within the country. But for external trafficking, when people are recruited from Nigeria and exploited outside the shores of Nigeria, it is considered as external trafficking. External traffickers are usually more organized because different people play different roles in different locations. Of course, it could involve 2 or more countries, but different people are in different locations and are assigned to play different roles in the organized crimes. Some within Nigeria will act as recruiters. They are the ones that will source for the victims and recruit victims. And then even after they have recruited the victims, some will be taken to shrines, local shrines, where those herbalists are specialists for administering oaths as a control mechanisms for the victims. And so these are different people playing different roles. And then the transporters are there who will transport them across the border. Sometimes they use the normal legal route, and then in some cases they use illegal route. When they are using flights, for example, there are specialists that facilitate the tickets and the visas for them. And so on transit and in destination countries, there are also different people that plays different roles. When they get to the destination countries and then exploitation starts, there are certain people that we refer to as enforcers. These are the people that will torture the victims, that will force the victim to carry out whatever activity they want them to do to make money for their traffickers. And so external trafficking from Nigeria is huge, and it is a very big problem.
All over the world, people are trafficked for diverse reasons.
Now, Nigerian victims are exploited in the following pattern: sexual exploitation. That is the most common form of exploitation for external trafficking from Nigeria. And then we have labor exploitation. There is also domestic servitude, which is very prevalent in the Middle East and Gulf countries. We have organ trafficking, which is upcoming, and even though we have low reporting of it, we need to tell people that this exists.
External trafficking is a global phenomenon. However, it is prevalent in some countries.
Nigerians are trafficked to many countries of the world. We have seen that there are certain countries that are prevalent that we refer to as hotspot countries for external trafficking. For example, within the West African sub-region, we talk about Cote d'Ivoire, we talk about Mali, we talk about Burkina Faso and Ghana. Nigerians are trafficked to almost all of the West African countries where Nigerian victims are exploited. In Cote d'Ivoire, for instance, Nigerians are exploited for mostly sexual exploitational purposes. And so Nigerians are trafficked by road through the land borders across some of these West African countries to Bamako and some of these gold mining areas where they are exploited through forced prostitution. So it is the same for Burkina Faso too. And then for Ghana, what we have noticed sexual exploitation, Nigerians are also trafficked to Libya, Egypt, and Morocco. Now, for Libya, Libya has been considered as a prominent transit and destination countries for trafficking for decades, especially since after the death of Gaddafi. For Morocco, what we have noticed lately is that Nigerians are trafficked there through false promises of securing football contracts. And so that is the situation for Africa. Now, for Middle East and Gulf countries, Nigerians are also trafficked there, mostly for the purpose of domestic servitude. We're talking about Oman. We're talking about, we've seen cases for Kuwait. We've seen cases for Iraq. Yes, in the past, we've seen loads of cases from Lebanon. But because of the relationship between the agency and the Embassy of Lebanon in Nigeria, we have worked closely together, and we have seen a great reduction in trafficking from Nigeria to Lebanon. So many countries in Europe are destination countries for external trafficking from Nigeria. And so sometimes they are trafficked by air, and in some cases they are trafficked through the normal Niger Republic, Sahara Desert, and the Libyan route. And so we've seen these cases continuously, and the different governments in Europe are also joining forces with NAPTIP and the Nigerian government to fight this crime. Italy, Netherlands, the UK, France are some of the common destination countries where Nigerian victims are found, particularly for sexual exploitation.
NAPTIP deals with diverse cases of external trafficking.
The United Arab Emirates is becoming a hub for trafficking, for sexual exploitation for Nigerian victims. Lately, we have seen a mass exodus of Nigerian victims flooding UAE, usually for forced prostitution. On a weekly basis, we get complaints, we get reports concerning Nigerian victims that are stranded, that are trapped in different cities in UAE. Dubai is in the forefront. We've seen cases in Abu Dhabi. We've seen cases in Ajman, in Sharjah, and of course, Ras Al Khaimah. In 2018, there was a young, promising undergraduate that was lured with the guise of getting a lucrative job abroad to Libya. When she got to Libya, she was forced into prostitution. Of course, she resisted at first, but she was tortured, raped, and then she had to succumb to them. She stayed in Libya in that situation for almost a year. She actually used the telephone number of one of our customers to communicate with her parents, who reported the matter to NAPTIP. When she was eventually rescued and repatriated to Nigeria, upon examination, we discovered that she returned pregnant. There was another lady that was recruited and trafficked to Libya for domestic servitude, a 14-year-old secondary school child. Because of the difficult situation she was in, they don't mop the floor, they scrub everywhere, they scrub walls, they scrub glasses. And so at her age, the job was too much for her. And I tell you that when we eventually rescued this girl and she came back to Nigeria, she came mentally unstable.
The fight against human trafficking requires collaboration.
The National Agency for Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons is working closely with the government of these countries, destination countries in Europe. And so some of these collaborations are already yielding results, as of course we are engaged in joint operations, joint intelligence sharing. They are also assisting the agency with capacity building and technical support. And so we are working seriously together, and we are already seeing results. The traffickers, of course, are engaging different peoples in different locations to perpetrate this crime. We also have to be a step ahead of them. NAPTIP collaborates with law enforcement organizations in Europe. For example, we partner with the KLPD, that is the Netherlands police. We partner with Bundeskriminalamt, that is the BK, the German police. We collaborate very strongly with the National Crime Agency of the United Kingdom. We share intelligence with the Switzerland police, with the Spanish National Police, with the Italian police, and of course a whole lot of organizations in some of these jurisdictions. And even recently, we are also sharing intelligence with the FBI. If you come to West Africa, for example, we have worked with, in fact, we even did joint operations with the Ghana Police Service, with the Bureau of National Intelligence in Ghana, as well as the Research Department in Ghana. We have also worked with the anti-trafficking organization in Gambia. They call it the National Agency Against Trafficking in Persons, as well as the anti-trafficking organization in Niger Republic that they call the ANLTP. Now, in the area of repatriation, IOM, the International Organization for Migration, particularly, have been very helpful. Since 2017, they have assisted in the repatriation of over 20,000 Nigerians. This is to tell you how serious the Libyan route is. Now, apart from Libya, IOM have also assisted in the repatriation of victims from India, from Mali, from Cote d'Ivoire, from Niger Republic, even from Chad. And so the contribution from IOM is very laudable and commendable. IOM effort does not just end with repatriation. Most times, after bringing the victims back to Nigeria, they also assist the agency in the area of empowerment of the victims. We have other organizations that have also assisted in repatriation of victims, like Caritas International, FIAP, ICMPD, even individuals. We collaborate with the Nigerian missions in most of these destination countries because they are our presence, they are our eyes in these countries.
The International Organization for Migration, IOM, is supporting NAPTIP in diverse areas.
IOM is involved in providing capacity building to NAPTIP operatives under different specializations. Like we work with protection officers, people that provide counseling services, for example, to victims of trafficking, building their capacity in that regard. IOM also has worked with the operatives of NAPTIP that are working that are part of the criminal justice system. So here we're talking about investigators and prosecutors. Our approach when it comes to providing support to the criminal justice system is to enhance a victim-centered approach when it comes to investigating and prosecuting trafficking cases. We recently developed a training manual for investigators and a training manual for prosecutors. Another aspect of our work with NAPTIP is in the area of enhancing coordination and collaboration when it comes to addressing issues of human trafficking at state level. In this regard, IOM has worked with NAPTIP in setting up state task forces on human trafficking. These task forces are spread across several states. I think we have established over 12 in different parts of the country, and it's a process that is still ongoing.
The lead migration agency in the world, IOM, facilitates regular migration.
When it comes to trying to advocate on regular migration, what IOM has done over the years is to establish what we call the Migrants Resource Centers. As at date, we have 3 of them, one here in Abuja, one in Lagos, and one in Edo State. And of course, we are advocating for more. What we've done, these Migrants Resource Centers are tied to the Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment. They're actually places that people could go to receive information on how to travel regularly. So the staff of these centers are trained to be able to do so. So they get themselves acquainted on the different regular migration pathways for different countries. So we encourage intending migrants to visit the Migrants Resource Centers.
The Women Trafficking and Child Labor Eradication Foundation, WATCLEF and NAPTIP are partners in progress.
So WATCLEF partners with NAPTIP in the education of victims. We have 11 survivors in our shelter that they are receiving formal education and also vocational education. One good thing is family tracing. 5 victims have traced their families recently. Partnership, WATCLEF, NAPTIP. A very good thing is that whenever we are ready and whenever the survivors are ready, NAPTIP picks up the survivor and takes them to their families. Also recently, there's a victim that was rescued at the age of 8. NAPTIP has been able to track down a family member. You know, we agree that victims or children, individuals are not meant to stay in shelters. Every child is meant to live in a home, in a family setting. So we've been able to do that. The last holiday was a unique one because we let NAPTIP understand that the children will be going to different families, and the DG approved that. They came back healthier and happier. I think it's the best holiday we have so far, and some of them were able to visit NAPTIP. They come back in the afternoon. So all in all, we are still partnering with NAPTIP for vocational skills acquisition. So for external trafficking, we report to NAPTIP. We make sure we get the right information. We don't get half information, and we make sure that the person at the other end is telling us is giving us the right information. So we just forward to NAPTIP because we don't have the capacity to arrest or to prosecute. And that we have been doing with NAPTIP successfully.
NAPTIP is not resting on its oars. However, Nigerians are advised to beware of seemingly lucrative offers.
Members of the public should please be very, very aware, especially if you are in a desperate kind of stage. That is where these traffickers come in and take advantage of such people. They should report any case of human trafficking to NAPTIP. We have done a lot of awareness creation that I believe that almost everybody in the country now knows about NAPTIP, where our office is in Abuja and even at the commands. They should report cases. They should not easily fall into very sweet talking kind of promises. It's never greener out there. It's better to be here and, try your bit, do what you can do while you are here. Anybody who comes to you and says, I'm taking you abroad to go and work, you make dollars, just know that person is lying, because you don't pick dollars on the streets outside this country. And so I just want to advise the public to be very sensitive to the kind of information they get from people that lure them into having it better outside there, because it's not always like that.
You may not live to tell your story, so shun the culture of silence and report all cases to NAPTIP. NAPTIP On The Move is sponsored by the International Organization for Migration, IOM.
Unfortunately, not many live to tell their stories. And NAPTIP is always willing to swing into action. Report that case today. NAPTIP event segment is on next. Don't go away. The Director General of NAPTIP, Dr. Fatima Waziri Azi, received a team of development partners led by Eva DeWitt, First Secretary, Migration Embassy of the Kingdom of Netherlands in Nigeria. Welcoming the team, the Director General highlighted the mandate of the agency and milestones. She also revealed some of the latest counter-trafficking policies and programs initiated by the agency, which includes the National Action Policy on Human Trafficking in Nigeria, among others. The First Secretary Migration Embassy of the Kingdom of Netherlands, Eva DeWitt, said they were at the NAPTIP headquarters to identify areas of collaboration and assistance. Partnership is one of the five-pronged approach of NAPTIP in its fight against human trafficking and violence against persons. A federal high court sitting in Uyo, presided by Honorable Justice Toyin Adegoke, has sentenced Flourish King Ita to 1 year imprisonment with a fine of 500,000 naira for the sale of an infant and being an accessory to the sale of her own child, which runs contrary to the provisions of Section 21 and Section 13, subsection 4C of the Trafficking in Persons Prohibition Enforcement and Administration Act 2015. The Director General of NAPTIP, Dr. Fatima Waziri Azi, played host to Mr. Paul Maselli, a retired United Nations staff in company of his partner. The purpose of the visit is to seek areas of partnership with the agency. In her remarks, the Director General enlightened the team on the mandate and achievements of the agency in the fight against human trafficking in the country. In his speech, Mr. Paul commended the Director General for her brilliant performance since assumption of office and pledged to support the agency in the area of sustainable and measurable capacity building for victims of human trafficking rescued by NAPTIP. As usual, our victim story segment will be on shortly. Keep watching.
I was staying in the village, so my dad decided to come and carry me in the village. I should come and school with him at Pianco, Karishi. So when I went there, I was in school. I started from primary 1. I think first term, second term, I didn't do third term. So at the third term, he started to maltreat me. He said that I'm a witch. Well, first of all, we went to work. We came back. They didn't pay him, so he said I was the one that did it. So when we came back home, he flogged me. That day passed. The second day I went to school, I came back. He said that they have initiated me in school. He flogged me that day. And he has already been beating me before with no reason. He would just come back from work, even if he's angry. If I just did something, he will flog me. Then there was a day we went to work together. When we went to the work, so we came back from work, I lost the key, our room key at the working place. So when we came back, I went back to check for the key. I didn't see it. So he has to break the door, and the money they paid him, we didn't eat that day. So he had to use the money and replace the key. So after he has break the door, he replaced the key. He flogged me that night. All over my body there was injury. The next morning he said that I should bath with cold water, and that same day he said I should still follow him back to the working place. So when I went there, at the process of work, so his madam now saw me. I was working, limping. I was not working very well. So she asked me what happened. I told her nothing. She called me that I should come close. I said no. So she had to come close to me. Then she now raised my clothes and she saw injury all over my body. She asked me what happened, so I narrated the story for her. Then from there she called NAPTIP. Then NAPTIP now came and took me to the hospital. They left me there. They went to look for my father. So when they saw him, as in like 3 days or 4 days, they now saw him. When they saw him, then they now come and picked me with him. They took us to NAPTIP office. So I went to NAPTIP. NAPTIP asked me what happened. I narrated the story for him. They now asked me what did I want to do. Did I want to learn handwork or I want to go to school? So I told them I want to go to school. That was how they brought me to Whatcliffe. I want to appreciate Whatcliffe and NAPTIP. I want to thank them. If I was still with my dad, I could have stopped from primary 1. I'm not sure I'll go to school again. But because of NAPTIP and Whatcliffe, I am now in JS1. And by the grace of God, I am sure that I'll finish my school in Whatcliffe. So I want to really appreciate Whatcliffe and NAPTIP.
For more inquiries and support, or to report cases of suspected human trafficking, violence against persons, and child abuse, please call NAPTIP hotline 0703 0000203 or the short code 627, or email us info@naptip.gov.ng. Visit our website www.naptip.gov.ng. Follow us on our social media platforms at NAPTIP Nigeria, or watch our videos on YouTube.
Hope you were enlightened. I must thank you for joining us today on NAPTIP On The Move. Keep a date with us, same time next week. I'm Angela Agbegi. Goodbye.